Well, today I'm going to be making this movable and foldable work surface. And it's foldable in that you can't lift the top by accident. You can't knock over this leg here. And there's a little kind of a switch thing here where you can drop this leg down and look at, instead of having a 3 foot by 3 foot area, now I can move this around easily. So today you're going to see what I went through, and when I started making this I didn't know what it was going to be because I had no plans and I had no pictures even of what this was to be. So it was kind of by guess and by gosh, but I'm really thrilled the way it turned out. So have a look and we'll build this together. Well, I'm kind of working this project as I go along. I don't have any particular plans for this except what's in my head as usual. There's some of the legs that I've just cut, and I'm going to be piecing. I need to make some cross pieces for some of them. Some of them are going to fit inside. So I'm kind of building it from the bottom up, and we'll see how it's going to come together. At this point, I really don't know, but we'll carry on here. Okay, so there's the dry fit for, I use dowels as usual because I want this to be really strong. I'm only using 3/4 inch pine here, but I don't want it to rack, so I'm using dowels to make sure that it's going to stay nice and stable and strong. And because I'm working with pine, see how this ends here, the grain sort of lifts, and sometimes if you're not careful with that, it will prevent the other piece from matching totally to it. So what I like to do is just use my knife and just go quickly around and just sort of take those little bits that could be, and there's just a little bit on each side that could be a little bit problematic, and I just take those out, and that way I'll make sure that I get a really good match. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead now and put glue in all the dowel holes and put this together. We've already done a dry fit, so I know it's all going to fit, and I just need to put dowels in here now and make sure that it all comes together. There we go. Okay. Okay, now we'll do the top side. There's that one. There's a go. Okay, so there's the two uprights, taking a quick toll of where we are, and this back one needs to be fastened to the base. So I'm using a little bit of new wood, a little bit of old wood that I have around, and I'll need to put some hinges on the top here and hinges on the bottom of this one because eventually that will roll forward like that. But the first thing I need to do is to attach the back, and I need to figure out what the uprights are going to look like as well. Now I'm going to use dowels along here so that it's nice and firm, but I can't glue and dowel onto this wood. So what I'm going to do is take this to the table saw and just cut a skim off the top of this white paint on here so that I get back down to bare wood, so that when I put the dowels in there, I'll be able to glue that up. So when we come back, we'll start putting some of this together. For today's video, I've been cutting up a lot of this pine using this new Ridge carbide blade that I'm testing out. You can tell it's a laser cut blade because of the expansion slot like that, but it's a full curve. It's actually a very nice blade, very clean rips, and the cross cuts are amazing. Actually, on pine there's virtually no tear out, and this is the underside of the wood here, so it does a good job. You can check these out on my affiliate page for Taylor Tools, and I'll put a link for that in the article on Woodwork Web. So I'm working on the base here, and I need to figure out how far I want to put these dowels. So I'm just going to do the first one. And I want the next one to be, oops, right about there. And I'm going to use the middle hole in the doweling jig all the way along here. And it doesn't really matter. This isn't for strength. This is just for placement, just so that it keeps everything even all the way along. Okay, that should work fine. Yeah, that's good. All right, and I'm just going to carry on with that. Here's the side view of what I'm looking at. This is sort of a mock-up of what it's going to look like. So that top, of course, is going to flip up like that. But what I need to do right now, I need to make two identical brackets that are going to fit in there. So I've just kind of got this clamped in a position that I can actually do some measuring. So I've cut two matching angle brackets, and I've very carefully marked out where they're going to go. So I'm going to do some dowels. I'm going to put 4 dowels in the base, and I'll set that up. But then when I come up here, I'm actually going to drill all the way through. I'm going to put dowel holes and drill them all the way through so that they're sort of exposed dowels. Okay, there's my dry fit. You can see the dowels sticking out the end there, and they're just, and I've got 4 holes there, and I've got 4 holes down here. I'm going to have to put it all together kind of at the same time, and that's going to be easy because these are just through dowels up here, but these are stopped down here. So I'm just going to clean up all of these, and we'll do some gluing, and we'll just put this together. Okay, the glue's all hard and dry, and this thing is just like a rock. It is super solid. I'm really happy with it. The only thing I need to do, I need to cut off the dowels. You can see that, and I'll do that with one of my favorite little pull saws here that I love. But the other thing that I need to do, and I'm just going to do this off camera, I need to put the outer leg set in, and I'm going to use some piano hinge for that. I got some nice wide piano hinge and the proper screws for it. So I'm just going to do that off camera. I mean, there's really not much to see there. So when we come back, we should have something near working. Okay, I've done everything I can on this side. Now I'm going to flip it and put the top on. And the easiest way to do that with most things is to just set them up. Lay them on their top and fasten it down. Now I just need to take a few minutes to measure that to make sure that that's even all the way around. Now the last thing I need to do before I flip this over is to attach my rather cumbersome looking little stop on there. And what's going to happen is this back part here, I need to mark this so that I don't go past that, both sides. This back part, of course, is going to flip up like here, and I need it to be able to stop somewhere where it's vertical. So there's the center of it. So what's going to happen is that will come and stop there. Now remember, this is the bottom, so we need to flip it upside down. And when it does, this will come down and it will lock. See how when the gravity will take it like this, and it will lock that in place so that you cannot lift the lid, and you cannot collapse this leg without reaching under and moving that like that so that that leg can move back. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this. Okay, while I have it up on the workbench here, I wanted to show you how this little mechanism works. It's pretty simple. And it's not the most elegant looking thing in the world, but you know what? It's functional and it works well. So there's the top. You can't lift the top up and you can't move anything out. You can't kick it. You can't do anything without moving this little lever, and then that allows you to move this leg, foldable leg out, and that goes back like that, and then the top just slides down like that. To set it up, you lift that up, you put the top in, or move the movable leg in like that, and gravity drops that down like that, and now it's back locked again. Okay, I've just applied some glue to the back side of that little strip, and because I really can't clamp it, I'm just going to use some 23 gauge pins and just sort of tack that on there, and that's all it needs to hold that while that glue sets. Well, and there's my finished work surface, and it's movable, it's foldable, it folds down, drops down, just as easy as that. So now instead of having a 3 foot by 3 foot area, I can easily transport this around my workshop or into another area. But I don't know what to call this. I looked all over for plans on something like this. I've seen nothing, and I'm sure I didn't invent this. I'm sure somebody else must have done this before. I just can't find anything on it. So if you've got a really good title on what this thing should be called, please write it in the description box below. But I'm really thrilled on this. It's solid, it's easily movable, it's nice and flat. I've got something in mind for this later on. You'll see that coming up. But for right now, I'm just really happy the way this turned out, because when I started this, I really didn't know. Another one that I started and I didn't know how it ended was an outfeed, a folding outfeed table for my table saw, and it turned out wonderful. I had so many comments and so many emails, people who have seen this and done the same on theirs, so you can go and have a look at that if that helps you as well with your table saw. I'm Colin Canet for Woodwork Web. Thanks for watching.